likes to be in control. I can't be the only one. I know I'm not the only one, actually. If you're like me, you like to have all the answers. You like to know and have a plan in place and know where you're going, what you're doing, and have all the answers about everything. And sometimes you don't want to rely on others because me, when I say you, I'm talking about me too, we think we have it all figured out. We're smart enough to figure it all out. Really don't need the help of other people, even other professionals or people that's what they do for a living. Hi, I'm Tanya Hendricks, and this is Legacy Her Way. And in this podcast, we talk about real strategies, real life, and inspiring conversations. Well, today's conversation is going to be obviously about legacy because that's what this podcast is about, but it's really about your estate planning and planning for the future. So, as an estate planning lawyer, people come to my office and some of them just have no clue what they want to do and just like, here's what I have. But then I have others. And just as a reminder, I'm in Huntsville, Alabama, which is Rocket City, USA. And we have a lot of, literal rocket scientists. So people who are way smarter than me, way more intelligent than me when it comes to building rockets, when it comes to engineering, when it comes to systems and processes to get a rocket, to get a spaceship into the air. That doesn't necessarily translate over to estate planning. But I have so many people come to my office who have stressed over how to do things. How do I leave this to this person? This is what I want to do. How do I finagle this? How do I engineer this so that this is the outcome that I get? And you would be surprised at how things just get all in the weeds and mixed around, and it's like spaghetti. And in their minds, they're trying to figure it out because they've got to get it figured out. Well, the beauty of coming to an estate planning lawyer is that we can help you with that. I had to say recently to somebody, was like, they were just going around in circles where they were trying to figure out, well, this is what I want to do, and how do I get this to here and this to that, and just going on and on and on. It's like, stop. It's like you are driving yourself crazy trying to figure this out. That's why you came to me. Let me talk. Let me work this out. And let's look at this before you try to solve it. Let's talk about the problem. Let's talk about the questions. Let's get to the answers together. Let's solve this problem together. That is the beauty of going to an estate planning lawyer. And I see people get advice on some of these social media sites all the time. I see someone post on some of these social media sites, hey, I need a quickie divorce, or I need to know about this. I need to know about that. And they're legal questions. And they're questions they should be asking lawyers, not asking the Facebook lawyers, those who have, in my situation, or my cousin, or my sister, or in this other state, this is what happened. Legal issues should be addressed with lawyers. Please address them with lawyers to get the correct information. But when it comes to estate planning, it's the same thing. Just because your cousin or your aunt or your dad or your mom or your brother or your sister or your neighbor did their estate planning one way, doesn't mean that's the way for you. Estate planning is personal. When I talk about estate planning, I'm talking about what do you want to have happen to your assets when you've passed away? And who do you want to be in control of things if you're not competent to take care of things while you're still alive? Who do you want to be the one to make the decision to pull the plug if that's what you want to do? That's estate planning. And it's personal to you. Estate planning, for me as an estate planning lawyer, I start with people, not papers. And that's what estate planning should be. And if you're trying to figure everything out before you go talk to a lawyer, let me put your mind at rest. You don't have to. You don't have to have it all figured out before you talk to a lawyer. That's our job. That's our job, to work with you through that process. So yes, you may have this account over here and you have all these different accounts. You have these 401ks, you have the IRAs, you have the house, you have all these things, and you want this to go to that person, that to go to this person. And in your mind, that's what you're trying to figure out. But you don't have to. And what you are trying to figure out may be all wrong. And there may be a much, much simpler way to do things, particularly for my engineering clients that are so accustomed to figuring out very complex matters and think it has to be complex. It does not. Estate planning doesn't have to be complex. There are ways that you can do it to make things simple and easy. You know, one thing I have found and know is that when people do their estate planning, it's to give their families peace of mind. It's to make things as simple as possible on the family. So don't complicate things in the beginning, because it doesn't have to be complicated in the beginning. Now, certainly there are some very complicated estates, very complicated. And I will say a lot of people come to me and say, well, it's just a simple estate. It's just a very simple estate. And then I find out they've got minor children, or they're a blended family where they've got, kind of the Brady Bunch family where you got this husband has multiple kids from a previous relationship, this wife has multiple kids from a previous relationship, and you bring it all together. That's not simple. When you get past, all I have is a bank account, you're probably not in a simple estate. And so you really need to talk with a lawyer about those things. There are consequences to certain actions that you take. There are consequences not just for you, but for your loved ones to certain actions that you take. People often want to name or put a child on a deed to the house with them, or put their child on the bank account with them. Sometimes that's appropriate, but maybe not for you. You won't know that till you talk to a lawyer about it. There are so many things that if you just go talk to a lawyer, we're not scary. We're not going to bite you. We don't have vampire teeth that come out when you come to see us. No, we're there to help you. We're there to answer your questions. So instead of asking the questions on a social media site and getting 100 different answers from 100 different non-lawyers, people not trained in the law and not trained specifically for what you're asking for, whether it's divorce, you need to talk to a divorce lawyer. If it's estate planning, talk to an estate planning lawyer. Instead of doing that, just call somebody. Get in to see a lawyer and get some advice. And when you come for estate planning, please don't think you have to have it all figured out, because that's what we're there for. And we're going to sit there and work with you and figure things out and figure out what is best for you, what's best for your family, what's best for the future. Figure out how it's going to be as simple and easy as possible on your loved ones when you pass away, or when the time comes that they need to use a power of attorney or the advanced directive for healthcare. So I just want to encourage you, don't stress over these things. I would not go to an engineer and say, hey, this is how you build a rocket. That's not my area of expertise. I wouldn't even know where to begin. I could do some Google searches. I could watch some YouTube videos, do all those things. I can ask people on Facebook, Reddit, whatever it is, like, hey, how do you build a rocket? I can follow Elon Musk and study what he does and what Tesla or what SpaceX does or what Blue Origin does. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to build a level of expertise where I can go and build a rocket that's going to make it to space. Same thing with doctors. I could watch YouTube videos. I could Google. I could do all the research, but I can't go perform a heart surgery. And so if you have your own area of expertise, or even if you don't, why not go to the person that is their area, that is their specialty, that is what they know, that is what they do day in and day out, to get the advice that you need for your situation. Everybody's situation is different. And so why not go to someone who can help you with your situation, your family, to be sure that you are doing the right thing for your family. Because I have also seen on the probate side, when people die and they thought they had figured it all out and did their own DIY, their own do-it-yourself will. When they come to me on probate, they didn't do anything right. It's more of a hassle for the family. It's costing the family thousands more dollars. And had they just come to me to begin with, or any estate planning lawyer, it would have saved so much of a headache, hassle, and money than what it ended up costing. So there is value. I mean, attorneys are expensive. Well, some of us are, because we've been doing this for a long time. We've spent a lot of time getting educated on this. This is what we do day in and day out. We have that area of expertise, we can't really say expertise. We have that specialty. We have that experience where we can offer you the best advice for your situation. And it will work. It will be what your family needs when the time comes. And also, I'm going to kind of circle back to a podcast we had, I think, that dropped the week after or the day after Thanksgiving. Your local attorneys are the ones who are putting money back into the community. And so if you are not wanting to go to your local lawyer and you'd rather do something online, you are taking money out of your community by doing so. But for lawyers, I mean, we're humans too. We have bills to pay. We have things to do. We have employees that we have people that we provide for their families. Abraham Lincoln once said, a lawyer's time is their stock in trade. So yes, we do charge for our time because we have to. We have our own bills. We have our own responsibilities. But also you're getting our experience, our education. But you know what? It's pennies compared to what is going to save your family in a peace of mind. It's pennies compared to the less amount of stress your family will have when the time comes. Because at that point, the documents, if you've talked to a lawyer, if you've had a lawyer prepare the documents for you, an experienced estate planning lawyer, they're going to save your family money, time, and a lot of stress. It is going to give them a level of peace that they may not have if you don't talk to a lawyer about your situation and get it done properly. So I just want to encourage you. Talk to a lawyer about your estate planning, please. Just get some advice and understand that when you go to the lawyer's office, you do not have to have all the answers. In fact, those who come to my office with all the answers, when we go through everything, they realize they didn't have all the answers and they made it way more complicated than it needed to be. And they're often shocked that they learned something that they hadn't thought about. Like, oh yeah, you've opened my eyes to that. I didn't see that. I didn't think about that. That's what we're there for. That's what we are there for. And you don't have to stress over getting it all figured out. You don't have to stress over all the nuances and details of getting everything in your estate plan, your assets, where they're going, how they're going to places. You don't have to get all that figured out. Go talk to a lawyer. Sit down with a lawyer and let them talk you through things, work through things, and then prepare the documents so that they are what's going to be best for you and your family when the time comes. As always, this episode is sponsored by Huntsville Estate Planning Lawyer, where we empower your vision and secure your future through estate planning and trademarks. If this conversation inspired you, moved you, please share it. If you have some people in real life who are stressing over what to do before they even start doing it, before they even talk to somebody, share this episode with them. As you're sitting around the holiday tables, the Christmas, Hanukkah, we just had Thanksgiving. So as you're sitting around the tables and talking to your families and you're realizing, oh, mom and dad aren't doing so well. Maybe we need to have a talk about estate planning, what documents they have in place. Maybe you share this episode. Maybe when you hear your sister or cousin or brother talk about they need to do an estate plan, they can't figure out what to do, how to do things, maybe you say, hey, there's this episode on this podcast called Legacy Her Way. Let me share it with you. So you can share it and spread the information and knowledge and hopefully peace of mind for people. And permission, this is permission for them to not have it all figured out before they go to a lawyer. All right, so please subscribe and share this episode so that others can find Legacy Her Way. And not just when I talk, but when I have all the wonderful guests on here, I would love for people to hear about the wonderful businesses, incredible businesses that are being built around Huntsville. All right, I'm Tanya Hendricks. Thank you so very much for listening, and I'll see you next time.